it appears opportunity after opportunity is opening up for one Frenkie De Jong. Now this morning we hear that Chelsea very close to agreeing an agreement with Barcelona over a transfer fee for De Jong, but they're awaiting the midfielder's decision. Now, he's getting hounded out of the Nou Camp. It would seem he was abused by a group of angry Barcelona fans yesterday as he arrived at the training ground. And this, we shouldn't forget, Simon, is Manchester United's long-term aim to get him over the door. He's a long-term target. They want De Jong. Ten Hag wants him, has wanted him for 13 weeks or more. Now it seems he's on the brink of going to Chelsea. I mean, how should that be viewed if you're a Manchester United fan if he ends up at Stamford Bridge?
Well, I mean, you've still got to square the same circle that Man United have been unable to square, which is the players' wages on the way out. Now, unless Barcelona are doing something different, or Chelsea are upping the ante and raising the bar and being prepared to do something that Man United may not have been prepared to do, then you still think there's a problem there. I mean, it is a commercial reality. Despite my debate yesterday about Manchester United probably being media-wise and perception-wise the biggest club in the world, if not close to it, they are now in a situation where they don't dine at the top table. They don't dine at the top table in terms of having their own way about how much they'll pay for players. They don't dine at the top table for how much they'll pay players to come and play for them. And they certainly do not dine at the top table in terms of winning things. So with that in mind, and you go to the argument, I thought a week ago that Todd Boehly was being a bit too busy according to certain factions, maybe Man United linked, and it would be ironic if he's that busy.
First swipe at Gary Neville.
Well, it's not a swipe, it's just an observation.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, if Todd Boehly rocks in and nicks this player from underneath the noses of Man United, then maybe he will be too busy for different reasons.
Would it be an embarrassment to United, though, if they pinch him?
Well, it can't kind of not be, can it? Because if... I'm not sure he's the cornerstone of their transfer policy, but he's the biggest number and name currently that Man United have had themselves indexed to, or being prepared to come to the table and look like they're actually going to do a deal. A variety of things. You'd be disappointed because, A, Todd Boehly doesn't know any of these people in these rooms, and people at Man United do, and the argument being advanced by Graham Souness on Monday was, what in God's name did you kick Bruce Buck, Marina and Peter Cech out of the door for when you know none of these people at Barcelona, none of these people at Real Madrid, and you'll not be able to do business with them, right? Yeah. And United should be in that position where they have got relationships with these clubs and be able to find a solution. But Chelsea are at the table, and of course it'll be an embarrassment because it'll be 12 weeks of a circular discussion that seems to have gone nowhere, with Man United being pipped at the post by a Chelsea side, which isn't in the greatest of nick, by the way. No, they aren't in the greatest of space.
But the fact it's 12 or 13 weeks or more makes De Jong the cornerstone of their transfer aspirations.
But it also makes it slightly ridiculous. If Chelsea have just suddenly come up as Johnny come lately and decide we'll have this player too, we like him, we'll have him, sort of Little Britain mentality, then we will have a situation where how have they managed to get the deal done? Now, that would mean that the player didn't want to go to Man United. Because unless Chelsea have blown Manchester United out of the water financially, then the player has chosen to perhaps step off his high horse about who he'll play for and go to Chelsea. And that will tell you that ultimately that Chelsea are in a far better position than Man United in the eyes of the players that will perhaps be contested for by the so-called big clubs. It tells you that the negotiations that United are doing are ineffective. So Richard Arnold is following on from an ineffective regime by compounding the issue by being the same. Yeah. The manager is going to be in the same situation that previous managers have been in before, which is they're having a real trouble for changing the direction of this club because they've got a rotten group of players in there that need to be refreshed, changed, or have their attitudes completely and utterly upgraded, and they need to do that by getting better players alongside them with different attitudes, and he's been hampered in that respect. So all roads lead to a situation where Man United are not only beginning to unwind themselves on the pitch, they're beginning to unwind themselves off it. Yeah. So yes, it is. It can't be not. The way that the media have been reporting this for 12 weeks, if we have been seeing a consistent sense that United are cornerstoning their transfer policy on getting this boy in, then they will look rather foolish. Oh, yeah. They will look rather foolish.
If they don't get him in the end.
Irrespective of the journey that you get to, it's the outcome that matters.
You always tell me, Sam, that Barcelona are in no kind of meltdown. But
no, I don't think they are.
Simon, they're at 6s and 7s. I mean, the La Liga, they've got to register new signings before the La Liga season gets underway. They've got to reduce their wage bill to do that from €560 million to about 400 million euros. So De Jong's one of them that's got to get out there.
So they'll do it.
So you expect De Jong to pitch up at Stamford Bridge sooner than later. But if he doesn't and this goes on,
they'll do it. I mean, first and foremost, they've renegotiated with La Liga because they've been able to refinance their debts and bring forward TV monies to give themselves some more capital, which has enabled them to bring their wage bill up from what it was last year to where it is now. And they managed to survive last year. They managed not to thrive, but still survive. And they'll do the same again. We've not had a player, despite the best endeavours of the media, that's been signed by them that hasn't been represented or been able to play. And I suspect it will be nip and tuck like it always is, but they'll find their way through it.
Really?
Well, listen,
Thursday. Their season starts Saturday.
Okay, well, if they don't play the first game, Nottingham Forest haven't got a shirt sponsor on their shirt at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
that.
different.
Hold on, but I'm giving you examples of how things start, not where they end up. And Barcelona may well be in a slightly conflicted position because of the changing of the rules inside La Liga and all that's gone around it. But I still believe that you've got to be monumentally, mind-blowingly, preposterously stupid, right, to sign players for inordinate amounts of money and then not be able to register them.
But that seems to be or arrogant. That seems to be the position they're in.
Arrogance is an observation that you can make if it doesn't produce an outcome that comes to the point. But it will. They always do.
Undeniably, Barcelona have created a them and us situation.
How?
Well, look at De Jong. He's now getting abuse hurtled at him yesterday as he pitches up at the training ground that he does not deserve.
No, hold on.
They've created this situation.
On. Yes, you're right.
They won't take a pay cut.
No, they
because
didn't
he's due money
create
from the
it.
club.
They didn't create it. What they're in the middle of.
They can't register new signings.
What they're in the middle of is a commercial discussion that's been brought about by a variety of circumstances, and they're having to play hard and fast with certain outcomes. Now, in fact, let's not start giving fans. Let's not start giving fans excuses for behaving badly.
Oh no, I agree with that.
If Barcelona want to play hardball with a player,
but they are behaving badly.
Well, the fans,
yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Barcelona are bringing that about.
You just framed that conversation to be that Barcelona created that scenario.
Pretty much have.
How? By having a commercial so what should they do then? Just give Frenkie De Jong what he wants?
De Jong's right in the middle of it. They can't register new signings.
Well, not just because of De Jong. If they've got to get their wage bill down by 160 million, he's 10% of it. So where's the other 90% coming from?
Do you think Braithwaite deserves to be slaughtered as well by some of the fans as he was yesterday?
Of course not.
For refusing to take a pay cut.
No.
Who gave him the contract?
But
Barcelona did.
Hang on.
They're reaping what they sow.
We all know that fans are getting ahead of themselves. And the media encourage it, by the way, by suggesting that fans should be outraged. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. A journalist, Dominic King, on Sky Sports yesterday, talking about the nature of Man United fans being entitled to be outraged and disgusted. Now, that's hyperbole. That's the sort of language that shouldn't be being used because it almost gives fans a reason for being disgusted and outraged. And then what next? Then you get Braithwaite being abused because the commercial discussions that are going on between players and football clubs
Dominic
are taken
King's
by fans as an
journalist.
excuse.
He's only reflecting. He's reflecting the views of part of the fan base.
No,
that's all he's doing.
No, he's encouraging a certain type of sentiments.
For the millionth time, don't exaggerate.
You've got your former mate over at Sky, Gary Neville, talking about people mobilising when United fans broke into Old Trafford, gave Souness and Jamie Carragher a mouthful of abuse and God knows whatever else, and they were told to mobilise by people at Neville. Language is important, and how you use it is important.
I agree with you.
Here's some language for you. I'm right and you're wrong.
There you go. Always ends like that, doesn't it? 10:15, De Jong. I mean, if you're a Manchester United fan, you have a lot on your plate at the moment. You have a lot to consider. If De Jong ends up at Chelsea, how really will you feel? Your long-term transfer target ends up at one of your rivals. And that's how it's looking. That is how it's looking. Give us a call on that. 03717 22 33 444 810 89.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.